What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central, and the Mets win 2-0 over the Chicago White Sox. Before we jump into the recap, please be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. And 1.5 out now, 1.5 out. Got to root for the Phillies one last time here, and then all of a sudden that gets done. 1 out, maybe by the end of the night, which would be really nice. And then, of course, need the Diamondbacks to, of course, lose their game to help gain a little bit of ground there. But yeah, the Mets did what they needed to do, took care of business against a terrible White Sox team. It has not been pretty by any means, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned at least a tad bit with the offense, because quite frankly, this series, I felt the offense should have been absolutely dominating this series, but unfortunately that did not end up being the case. You had a couple of guys that contributed, of course, throughout. Like, Lindor's obviously been the most consistent guy, so really not much to discuss there. Marte hopefully heating up here, which would be help down the stretch. But yeah, let's just talk about the game. Garrett Crochet versus Sean Manaea, and the offense looked terrible off the rip. And I get that you're going against Garrett Crochet, but man, I mean, the fact that there were 7 strikeouts in a row from this offense is just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And this is a team that strikes out way too much. I mean, they struck out 16 times today. That is gross. And 8 of those came from Crochet. 5 of them came from... 5 of them came from... I've never even heard of this dude until the Mets played the White Sox today. Aurora? I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but regardless, the Mets struck out 16 times in this game. The offense needs to be a lot better. There's just no way around it. I'm not going to even do like a proper recap. I think it's better if I just go about this with the flow, because there's really not a lot to talk about, because honestly, Sean Manaea and Crochet both exchanged just dealing until the 4th inning, where Lindor had that leadoff home run to make it 1-0. Iglesias had a single, Vientos had a single, and you thought maybe they could tack on more runs, and this was going to be the inning where they score, and then that's it. And unfortunately, they didn't, because the rest of the order goes down. Crochet got pulled very early in this game, which I know he's on a bit of a inning limit, so I wasn't too surprised, but I also was a bit surprised they didn't let him just finish the inning there at that point. But regardless, yeah, outside of that, there was really not much to discuss, because Sean Manaea was just absolutely on fire throughout the entirety of the outing. And the Mets offense just continued to be terrible, striking out left and right until later on in the game, which, by the way, Reed Garrett came in the 8th inning, looked very good. 9th inning, though, with 2 outs, Martinez with a walk, and then Pablo Reyes ends up coming in the pinch run. Marte with a double drives him in 2-0. Huge to get the insurance run. Not even needed, though, because Diaz just struck out the side and looked very good. His fastball, a lot of life on it. A lot of life on it lately. And I think it's time for a conversation here. And I'm sure this is the conversation that was had internally, that Diaz needs to be getting in more games, because it is very inevitable by the results now at this rate that he pitches a lot better when he's getting in the more ball games. And I get that there are times where you don't want to use him because you want to save him for tomorrow. But at the end of the day, you got to get him more work, because clearly it's working for him when he does end up pitching more. And I'd rather have an effective Diaz when he does come in and overutilize him, versus Diaz struggling in the only times and the few opportunities he has to get these saves. But he ended up getting the save, looked vintage Diaz today. And yeah, outside of that, again, really not a lot to discuss with this baseball game, because the offense was just really, it was just disappointing this entire series, to be honest with you. Vientos went 2 for 4 today, but he had some ugly strikeouts in there. Alonso 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, just terrible today. Martinez looked a bit lost at the plate. Granted, he did generate at least 2 walks, but a couple of ugly at-bats there. Bader has looked lost for the past few weeks, and I'm very concerned there, because you need him in center field because of the fact that his defense has been so good for you this year, but he is just not swinging the bat well at all, and there needs to be a conversation potentially of just not playing him unless it's for defensive purposes at this rate, because you need a lot better from your offense, and he's just not cutting it for you right now. By the way, Luis Torrens, forgot to give a huge shout out to him for that just absolute hose he has at second base when he got Luis Robert trying to steal second there. Beautiful from him. I was a little upset that they took him out of the game late. I know you want to, pitch hit McNeil, maybe generate some more runs there. But Torrens has been swinging the bat fine, and I'm at a point where his defense is pretty valuable to me that I would have liked it there. But again, in the 9th inning, you didn't have to worry about it with the way Diaz pitched, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, Lindor continues to be on fire. Iglesias was fine today. I mean, he went 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Maybe one a bit better, but good on him with that tag there, too, at second. He's been good so far. I would prefer for him to not hit second when he's in the lineup still, but again, it is what it is. But yeah, outside of that, again, it was ugly. A lot of these wins were ugly, but at the end of the day, they need to scrape these wins. And you are just in denial if you can't admit that they were ugly wins, but they need to get these wins regardless, one way or another. So right now I'm sitting here fine with it, but it means nothing if you don't go into this Boston series and turn things around, because now the offense has to get their shit together, because this has just not been good enough at all from them. And you're going against a way better pitching staff. You're going against a way better team where they're going to score more runs. So it's going to be hard to win some of these closer matchups that they've been winning against the White Sox. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. This is a bit of a shorter recap because this game really didn't have much to unpack in it. It was kind of a boring game, to be honest with you, unless you're a fan of pitchers duels, which I am. So not so boring for me, but yeah. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not a fan of when the offense doesn't show up against terrible pitchers, because just not scoring off of some of these guys that came in the game is still pretty disgraceful. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next one.